but listening to the conversations when you became the fly on the wall, and you're not supposed to be listening, but you're hearing Robert and Keenan talk. And then when you get that first invitation to Keenan's house, because he's having a cookout on Sunday, and you go over there and you're hearing Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, like you mentioned, and it's Boom Boom Washington.
Yeah.
That's Cochise.
Right.
He came to me one day and was like, yo, man, we should be some actors. I say, you sound crazy. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you have to go to school for that. I mean, what are you talking about? He said, nah, man, I know this dude. I know this guy, and he's trying to get this project off the ground, and I just met him, and we should just go by his house. And I'm like, well, we're too young to know that you don't just stop by.
Right.
But again, ignorance is great sometimes, because we went over this guy's house and knocked on his door, and he opens his door, and it's Robert Townsend.
Wow.
And Robert's like this, yeah. We're like, hey, we want to sign up for Hollywood. How we get into Hollywood? He's like,
we want to sign up for Hollywood.
Yeah, we want to sign up for Hollywood.
Hilarious.
So he's like, yeah, nah, this is my home, and that's not how this works. But if you're interested in helping me on this film, come back tomorrow and bring some donuts if you're serious. So I got some money from my mama and went and got some donuts, Winchell's Donuts, and took them to the set at 6 a.m. And that's when my eyes opened up. I didn't have a job title. I wasn't even a PA. It was just more like what they called it back then. They called it a pilot. Like, and the pilot meant pile that box over there, pile that over there, pile that. So I just jumped in with Townsend, and I just started hanging out with him. Now, at the time, I'm in junior college, my first year of junior college. Wasn't gonna make it to no university because at that time, I didn't have the patience to make it through school. I could do it now, I bet. But I was like, I don't like it here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be around. I hadn't found my people yet.
Yes.
Right?
Find your people.
Gotta find your folks, right?
Right.
And so once I found Robert and a cast of other characters, from Keenen Ivory Wayans to John Witherspoon to you name it, that's when I knew I had found my folks, and this is where I'm supposed to be. And if I'm smart enough to figure it out, I can make a living here.
What did you learn? Because, I mean, you're around Keenen, and you're around Robert, and they were trailblazing in that era.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to think, it wasn't many Black producers before them. It was a few.
Yeah.
But not a lot.
Not a lot.
Right? And I know you probably didn't, from that space, you didn't understand what they were fighting for, what they were fighting against. But what did you learn watching Keenen and Robert? Because that was big, the Hollywood Shuffle, to even get it done.
It was big, but first and foremost, it was fun. So I didn't look at the business aspect of it. I didn't see that. That came later. What I saw was people portraying characters and being silly, and Keenen doing the Jerry curl. That was funny stuff to me. And so for me, that's what I saw. And I still didn't realize that this was going to be my life. I thought that this was just a trip. I'm taking a trip here, and then I'll probably go get into real estate like my dad, or go get a job somewhere and live the rest of my life doing what people do, have jobs and look forward to the weekends. But that wasn't going to be my life. But what I learned the most was, but listening to the conversations when you became the fly on the wall, and you're not supposed to be listening, but you're hearing Robert and Keenan talk. And then when you get that first invitation to Keenan's house, because he's having a cookout on Sunday, and you go over there and you're hearing Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, like you mentioned, and it's Boom Boom Washington.
Yeah.
That's Cochise.
Right.
And I couldn't believe that I was around Cochise.
Yeah.
I was in love with that character as a kid. And now I've become friends with him. But at that time, it was like, you start hearing these secret conversations, and then if they like you, they keep you around. And I always knew how to act around a certain level of people. I always knew to humble myself, shut up, and listen.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that, they knew, oh, he's cool, he can be around. And, sometimes I got kicked out the room, but certain times I didn't. I mean, I can tell you great stories about sitting with a producer friend of mine in Denzel Washington. I'm sitting there and they're having a full conversation for hours, and I'm sitting there hearing the entire conversation. But this is before he became Denzel, but he was still Denzel. So, you know, just being in that space and knowing that, how do you play your position? Because if you play it right, you can ascend to the next level.
That's a fact.
A lot of the friends that I came into the game with, they didn't have that same level of patience and level of contentment and level of humbleness, humility, to be able to go, let this person shine. It's not about me.
That's a fact.
It ain't about me.
Man, you dropping some jewels. We have traveled similar, you know, paths, because everything that you're saying is things that I try to tell people and teach people, you know, and things I just found and learned along the way. My grandmother used to tell me, you know, if you can speak well and you have good manners, it can get you in doors that money can't. You know, and I've always tried to tell people the importance of, like, because what you were doing, you were networking.
Thank you.
You were networking. You know, but at the same time, you're marketing yourself too. You can market yourself in real life.
Yes.
You know, and you're teaching people how to treat you and teaching people who you are. And when you know how to comport yourself and you know how to move in different rooms, and like you said, you listen. You know, it's not about you. And people have a difficult time grasping that concept. Sometimes you have to know when it's your moment,
they
right?
Really
Exactly.
do.
Yeah, you will have
know
your moment.
Know when to be the supporting actress
yes.
or the actor.
Know when
you don't have
to
to be the
fall
main
back
character
and just play your role.
all the time.
It's not about you.
It's not about, it never has been. I can't tell you how many times people have presented me with scripts and then they'll go, now make sure you read the Matthew role, because that's I'm going to play Matthew, and I'm going, who are you? How could you be that arrogant to think that you're going to play the lead role in this script that you're handing me?
Exactly.
You might not even get a role if I decide to do it.
Right.
But the smarter way to do it is to get in the door with your script and then say, is there a little small role in there for me?
Exactly.
Is there something that I could possibly do? Then they go, yeah, you know, we got something for you. And now you're networking. You're in there. You're playing the game, and people realize that you know that it's not all about you.
That's a fact.
It ain't never been about me.
No.
Ever.
It's got to be about the work and the project, you know, because same thing with you. I've created projects where, you know, maybe in my mind, I thought, well, I could do this, but no, what's the best for the overall project?
Yeah.
Who can do that? I want the best. If I'm not the best, then shit.